Sometimes the hardest thing to say isn't, I love you. It's, I love you and I need space. In today's episode, I'm sharing the story of one of the most enlightening friendships of my life. It's a story about missed moments, like her birthday, like her wedding, and what those moments revealed about my patterns, my pain, and ultimately my peace. From judgment and pride to compassion and clarity, this is a full circle reflection on growth, boundaries, and loving someone from afar. If you've ever needed to take space from someone you love without making them wrong, this one is for you. This is Healing with Haley, episode 66. I love you and I need space. Welcome to Healing with Haley. I'm your coach, Haley Kirk. On this podcast, we dive into ways to heal, embrace, and truly love our lives. Here's my belief. So much of our suffering comes from what we believe. I'm here to help you understand your mind and question those thoughts to start your healing journey. Ready to get started? Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Oof, I have a doozy for you. This one is an episode and a story that has been years in the making. It's not a tale of blame or drama. It's reflection, reckoning, and honestly, one of the most enlightening relationships I've ever had. I literally was up until 4 a.m. last night processing this experience. And this is the story of a close friendship, how it evolved, unraveled, and ultimately what it taught me more about myself than I ever expected. And ironically, this friendship that I'm referencing, I actually talked about where this story started, was actually my very first episode of this podcast, episode 1, Humble Beginnings. And I just re-listened to it, so it's fresh in my mind. And if you want to follow the breadcrumb trail, that episode is a sequence to this episode. So if you just want to listen to this episode, I got you. Let's do a recap of where this story starts. So it was my birthday, October 10th of I don't know what year. And to sum it up and make it really short, she didn't come. And maybe that sounds like it's not a big deal, but for me, it hit something really deep. Not because I expected a big party but because I noticed how much I made it mean. You know, her not showing up didn't matter to me. I felt like I wasn't a priority, that maybe I outlived her, like my importance in her life. And instead of asking or expressing or letting her know how it made me feel, I swallowed it. And I let that seed of hurt grow into something dark and vengeful and nasty. And so fast forward to her wedding, she texted me and let me know that she was engaged and she wanted me to be a part of the celebrations. And I showed up so petty, you guys. I remember giving her half-assed gifts, like candles that still had paper towels wrapped around them. And she and I sold those one summer just to make some extra money in college. It was just it was a gift with a stab. It it wasn't kind and it wasn't thoughtful. It was the opposite. I literally felt like it was like a poisoned apple for a a Snow White allegory. So what kept ruminating in my mind was, why should I show up for her if she didn't show up for me? It was eating at me. It really was. This mindset of you hurt me and I'm going to hurt you. And I actually want to share a journal passage I did yesterday. And in my reflection, it was like, when I think back at the version of me that chose pettiness and retreat when my friend didn't come to my birthday party, my body cringes, my shoulders tighten, my face crinkles in disgust, and I shake my head left to right in disapproval. It was juvenile, it was unconscious living, it was cowardly in the worst way. It was saying more than if you don't show up for me, I won't show up for you. It was worse and more sinister. It was, you hurt me, now I'm going to hurt you twice as much and pour a lemon on it to make it sour and sting even more. It was this creepy, yucky, ugly version of me that cowered away from vulnerable emotions like forgiveness, love, compassion, and understanding. And granted, I didn't know about life coaching. I didn't know about thought work. I didn't know about ego in the spiritual sense. I understood ego on a just Freudian psychological standpoint, but I have a lot of compassion for that version of me that was, trying to protect me and felt really defensive. But it's a dark patch, a dark spot in my life. And I definitely do regret how I showed up. And she invited me to her wedding, and I previously told her I wouldn't be able to come because I would be in Vegas. I would be celebrating Christmas with my family in Vegas, which was true, but a cop-out. And the day of her wedding, it was December 28th. I remember to this day. I was pacing my dad's apartment. I was going back and forth. I was looking out the window at my car, and I was thinking, like, I think I could make it. I could just drive there, 6 hour drive there. I don't know, I'll find somewhere to sleep, maybe crash out of friends, and then just drive back. I was really trying to problem solve how I could make myself get there. And I was in this battle between my highest version of myself versus yummy, really provocative vengeance. And it won. The ego side of me won. And it is what it is, but that part it still stings to this day. So the next portion of this, fast forward about 2 years ago, I really make an effort to go to Utah once a year to visit these cherished friendships I made in college. And with this specific friend, the trip surfaced some deep discomfort I had been feeling in our friendship. And, there was this night where my friend and I wanted to go dancing. And my friend, she was 9 months pregnant. This is the same friend that I missed her wedding, that she didn't come to my birthday. And what happened was that how the night progressed from my perspective was, she's 9 months pregnant. She was sitting down. She was talking with friends. She was enjoying herself. And that was not her perspective. She was saying I was inconsiderate, that I didn't check in on her and ask her how she was doing and offer to end the night early. When I was 9 months pregnant, I was dancing up until 3, 4 in the morning. I know that's not every pregnant woman, but my friend is a badass, and she like bounces back from pregnancy like crazy. So I thought she and I were kind of in that same mind space. But, she had told me that she wished I had offered or was more considerate of her being 9 months pregnant, which I understand. She hadn't expressed that to me until 2 years after that experience. And I thought actually we had resolved that in a conversation a year ago, but she was holding on to that experience, even though I expressed an apology and all of those things. And so I understand that it was hard for her to let that go. And then there was another moment with our mutual friend. I had arranged for our mutual friend to watch my son, who was sick, and so I could, go dancing. Um, However, he was crying throughout the night. I came a lot later than she had expected me to, and that I expected myself to as well. And my mutual friend told the friend with with the wedding birthday drama, um, about this experience. And so she essentially told me in a text message that these experiences had led her to question my values, and that, she said essentially that I'm that in her mind I value fun over being responsible. And here's the thing, I can see where she's coming from. I actually agree that that was not my best parenting moment. Sure. I feel like as a single mom, that month for me, January of 2024, was one of the hardest moments. That was when I ended things with my son's father, and I became an official single mother. And I definitely see ways I didn't show up well, and how I wasn't considerate. I can see those things. The hard part for me was when we had exchanged these grievances. I felt unseen. I felt all these things. And so I hadn't texted her back after she explained to me why she had been pulling away. And it was a grief for me, because I had been making this whole text message. She sent me a very long text message. When I asked her about her distancing herself from me, I felt this weird disconnection and separation energetically. And she confessed that she was pulling away because of these reasons. And her message had this tone of like, it's been a good friendship. And I made that mean she was ending. This was the dramatic thought that I was telling my friends here in Maryland, that she ended a 13-year friendship. My friend doesn't want to be my friend anymore, of 13 years of friendship. This is big drama, like drama statement. She didn't say those exact words. I knew I was making it mean something that it wasn't. And it could be true she doesn't want to be my friend, but she didn't say that. So I can't absolutely know that that's true. And there's parts of me that grieve if that is true. And I think that's what I was grieving. Uh that fear of abandonment was really coming up. And so this text message exchange took place probably about a month ago. But I make sure I really make an intention with my friends to put notifications in my phone, like a week before their birthday, or, a few days before their birthday. And I saw that, and I was like, yeah, like I need to I felt called. I felt called. I knew I needed to do something. That moment was a time for me to rise and to ask the higher version of myself to act. And I didn't want to repeat the past. I didn't want to do the whole wedding thing again. Never ever. And the whole day, June 1st is her birthday. And that whole day it was eating at me. I was like, man, it's her birthday. It's her birthday. I want to text her. I want to text her, but I hadn't responded to her list of, her list of grievances and judgments of me, which I see there parts of that are true. And there were parts of me that I didn't respond to her because I was trying to inflict pain. And honest, it was me processing the pain of what I was believing. And there were so many moments where I would cry and I would journal and I would process and meditate and draft text messages, voice messages. I have so many of those things from processing her message to me. And her message to me was very, for me, it hurt. It hurt me. And I don't believe that she was intentionally trying to hurt me, but it was hard to hear. It was hard to hear that she changed how she viewed me. She had a lot of judgments of me and was calling me out after I had already asked for forgiveness. So it's hard. It's hard to know that, if you make a mistake and you apologize, that someone's still going to harbor those mistakes against you, or make it mean who you are, make those mistakes characterize your values and who you are as a person, which she's allowed to do those things. It was just hard that my best friend of 13 years would believe those things. See, there's the drama again, the 13 years. So it's interesting how ego shows up. So the text message, I was talking to a friend and I let them know, like my best friend, it's her birthday today. And the day is almost over, right? It's almost over. I have to do something. And then I was, just kind of recanting a brief summary of my relationship with her. And then my highest self was like, stop ruminating. Just do it. Just freaking message her. And I went right to my messages and I texted something very simple. I said, happy birthday. I love you. You guys, oh my God, my heart was racing. I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. I started to cry. It was such a vulnerable moment because I texted her knowing that she could not respond to me, that she could rebuke me, that she could just say, never talk to me again, or nothing, and awkward silence. But I did it. I did it because that's the friend I wanted to be. I did it because my deepest desire is to show up loving. I want to operate out of the emotion of love in everything that I do. That's my new mantra. And I think that human beings show up best in the emotion of love and faith, but mostly love. I think that's where we thrive. I think that's our highest vibration. That's our highest version of ourselves, is the emotion of love, operating in that emotion. And it was so freaking scary. I actually, so I was on the phone as I texted that message with a friend, and I said, you know what? I actually have to go. I just want to sit in this, and it's really hard for me to explain what's happening inside of me. It blew my mind how intense of a body experience that was. And it was a simple text message. Happy birthday. I love you. Wild. But it wasn't just happy birthday. What I was saying was I'm still here. No matter what you believe and say about me and think about me, I am still here. I'm still choosing to love you. You guys, that is so hard. But I love that. I love that, right? And that doesn't mean you're a doormat or a people pleaser. No. It takes incredible strength to love someone who hates you, right? And this just reminds me of Jesus Christ, whether you're religious or not, he was a historical figure and had these teachings, right? Love you, love the person that rebukes you, give them your whatever, all those things. But I was like, what? Pray for them who despitefully use you, I think is one of the scriptures. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away at that passage because that's almost the exact opposite of our genetic coding. Right? Like we are we have fear in us designed that way for self-preservation, for survival, and to be kind and loving to things and people that hurt you. It's your nervous system's just like danger, danger. Right? So it felt so good. It felt so good to text that. Not at the beginning, not while I was doing it, not a little bit after. I was freaking out, you guys. I was freaking out. And it was crazy that vulnerability. But what it taught me was dive deep, dive in. This is another passage I wrote yesterday. This was another smaller, less dramatic example, test, exercise. The universe saying, did you lock in this skill yet? Different version, different scenario, same skills. The lesson, push through the fucking fear. Choose vulnerability, choose the scary option, the one that your protector part is like, oh no, let's not do this. No, please, no, please. Dive head first. Don't think, just do. And I love that. I love that so much because those things we know we should do but don't do. We're stuck in this loop of a higher self battling with ego self, the self that says, let's experience more pleasure, less pain, save energy, right? And no, I chose a really harder version that time. And guys, guess what? She texted me like 15 minutes later and said, thank you. I love you too. And for me, that was mind blowing. For me, that was confirmation that I was believing something totally wrong. It shattered that belief system. My friend of 13 years doesn't want to be my friend anymore. Is that really true? Did she say that word for word? No, she didn't. Essentially, what she was saying was, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with how you've been showing up lately. If I were to sum up her long message, the list of all the grievances. Summed up, Haley, I don't like how you've been showing up. And it's hard for me to process this version of you that I'm seeing versus the version of you that I became best friends with. And she ended her message with, I love you. I cherish our friendship. You're my soul sister. I mean, she said these beautiful things and I totally ignored it. Her responding, thank you, I love you too, was everything I needed to hear, but post me overcoming all the fear. It was so cool. It was so cool. It was this, I didn't need that message. I already was in that space to receive something so beautiful like that. It made me melt. It made me just realize that we are so blind to love that's right in front of us. Ego ego thrives in us versus them mentality, right? This everyone's out to get me, no one loves me, I'm not worthy. This is the voice of the ego. And I was actually talking to ChatGPT about this. And I asked it, I'm not remembering the question, but it said that it doesn't have an ego. That ChatGPT itself doesn't have an ego. And I was like, wow, that realization, like AI isn't human because it doesn't have an ego. So the ego is a blessing. It is what creates our humanity. It's what makes us human, is ego. And this battle that we struggle with in our minds, it's so necessary. It's so necessary for our evolution, for our growth. It's wild. It really is wild that it's a gift, because sometimes it feels like a curse, but it's not. It's something that is a means to an end. It's a tool, not a tool. It's a function for us to overcome, right? It's an obstacle that helps us achieve higher levels of awareness and consciousness and growth. So I think that, that I don't know what is going to come of my relationship with my best friend. I All I know is that I love her, and I'm no longer armoring up. I just finished reading a book, Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown, and she kept saying this: soft front, strong spine, wild heart. I love that so much because strong spine to me says boundaries, self love, self integrity, self trust. And soft front it's this open arms. I'm always here for you. I love you always. There's nothing you can do that will stop me from loving you energy. And wild heart is this just passionate, brave, courageous energy as well. And I want to live my life. I want to live my life that way. I think that book was very inspiring because I feel like there's so much of us that armor up, right? And have this strong front and weak back. And we're constantly afraid of vulnerability. And it's terrifying. I get it. But when we dive into it, and it's freaking scary, and our bodies are going to have visceral reactions to it, like I did last night. And I recommend it. I highly recommend vulnerability with the right people. There's got to be that trust built first. And this friendship has taught me that boundaries are not betrayals, right? She told me she needed space, and reading her message, I needed space. Space is sacred. I also learned that vengeance feels powerful in the moment, but peace feels better long term. This also taught me that I can love someone deeply and still honor when our paths no longer walk side by side, right? I don't want friendships where I can't be forgiven. I don't want friendships where I can't be given grace in hard times. Not saying she didn't. I'm open to that being wrong too, but that was my interpretation of her message. And she may never know all of this, right? And that's okay. We may never revisit that conversation. It kind of reminds me of that that scene in Mean Girls at the very end where all four of them used to be friends. And then it was that chaotic event at the end, and they all weren't friends anymore. But they would smile when they saw each other, right? Like the the main Mean Girl, I'm forgetting her name. Lindsay Lohan is on the grass and she watches the main Mean Girl walk away with her new community, her lacrosse team. And they smile at each other, and it's this loving smile, this remembrance of, like, you were meant to be in my life. Thank you for what you taught me, and now I'm moving forward. Not to say this friendship doesn't mean the world to me, but it just no longer aligns with this version of me. And it's so interesting, right? I feel like when she sent me that message, there was so much uncertainty about it. I didn't know if she still wanted to be my friend or not. It was interesting how much I desired that answer, right? There was that little girl part of me that was fearing that abandonment. And, I didn't know if she was closing the door or opening the door. I was like stuck in the hallway as a metaphor. And being stuck in a hallway is so vulnerable, right? But you don't even have to think about it that way. But I think allowing uncertainty of whether or not we're friends or not is beautiful. I'm okay with not knowing. I don't need her validation that I'm a good friend. I know I am, and I'm also a messy human being. I can be both, right? And I think that the friends that will align with me will take that humanity piece into consideration and won't hold things from years past against me, and will talk to me openly and contend with me and say, that was messed up, you did that made me feel this and this. And I want friends that bring things up to me as quickly as possible. And I understand why she didn't. I do. I have so much compassion and understanding, and maybe there are parts of my personality that I need to change so that I am more receptive to that feedback, or that I allow a space for my friends to feel safe to tell me when I have erred. So this friendship has been so enlightening for me. I feel called to share it. I feel just this deep appreciation, and her genuine, loving text message back saying, I love you. I know that she does. I feel that deeply. And that's what I believe. I believe in this sentence. I love you and I need space. I love you and I can't continue this friendship with you anymore. I love you and I don't know where I'm at with you. Right? It's those two ideas can coexist. And And it's always ego that's telling us different, that it's either us against, you're either with us or against us, right? That belief is so horrible. It it separates us and dehumanizes us and creates this disconnection when, as human beings, we are all really connected to each other, right? Like the Pocahontas song, we are all connected to each other. But I really hope that this has touched something in you. And if it has, I invite you to sit with this question. Is there someone you need to text? I love you and blank. I love you and I need space. I love you and I can't be with you right now. I love you and I'm leaving. I love you and I'm staying. And if there is, can you allow yourself to love them without needing to stay close, without needing affirmation, confirmation? Also, if this episode stirred up old heartbreak, whether in a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even with a coworker or a family member, I have a great resource for you that I created. It's called Heal Your Heart, 15 Journal Prompts to Move You Through Heartbreak. I originally designed this for romantic breakups, but these prompts work beautifully for any kind of relationship ending or rupture. So click the link in the show notes to get your freebie by signing up for our newsletter. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for witnessing and for giving your own stories the compassion they deserve. And remember this, please. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the letting go. And I'll see you guys next time.